So are we recording? We're good? 3, 2, 1. We're live. All right. Welcome to Bird's Eye.
Welcome.
Hola.
So Bird's Eye podcast is going to be this is going to be a little bit different than things we've done in the past. It's going to be a shorter version of some of the conversations I think Brett and I got into way back when Carolyn joined us with in our last adventure. So what is Bird's Eye, I guess is what I need to explain here.
Yeah.
Do you want to jump in? Yeah. Okay. All right.
What does that mean to us? And what does that mean to people listening, watching?
Yeah. So by definition, a bird's eye view is an elevated view of an object from above with a perspective as though the observer was a bird, often used in the making of blueprints, floor plans, maps, and it can be an aerial photograph as well. Also a drawing, and in this case, a podcast. Did I get that all right?
That
was pretty Webster-esque.
Yeah, it was a little too smooth.
Yeah.
It might have been straight off like Wikipedia or something.
Really, the origin of this name was we had all joined Perch. I don't even know if you had started yet, Brett, but we were all kind of chatting and knew we were coming in here and we knew we wanted to do this podcast. And I took vacation about a weekend and I'm sitting here and I wake up one morning and there's just this black, I don't know if it was a crow or what kind of bird it was, but it's just looking at me. And every morning for the rest of the trip, it was sitting there and I would wake up and there's this bird and it's just perched on this. It was like this house on elevated stilts. And I was like, bird's eye. And I got super psyched about it. And we're going back and forth. And yeah, that's
Carolyn
where the name came
was
from.
Absolutely not slacking on I don't know if there's text or Slack on vacation.
It was text.
That was the only thing. It really was. I couldn't ignore it at that point, you know?
Yeah, no, and we appreciate it. So that's the name of the podcast, and it goes a little bit with Perch, and I think one of the big themes at Perch is continuous learning, growth, and development, and this hopefully turns into a discussion about turning adversity into advantage through the examination of the things that we all suck at, in the paths and patterns that help us all overcome those things. So that's going to be a little bit of the hook, and you're probably going to hear that question. It drives Brett nuts.
Yeah.
But we want to do this just the three of us, and then moving forward, we're going to have a lot of different guests on here. Some from Perch, probably a lot from Perch, and a lot of folks that we've met, leaders out in the industry that don't actually work at Perch. So hopefully, get a nice diverse spread of conversations. And but this one, without further ado, we can jump right in, and hopefully, this gives you a flavor of what you may find in this discussion. Who's going first?
Brett, you literally just raised your hand. I mean, you were stretching, but it looked like a hand raise.
You know what? I'll jump in. All right, I'll go first. So this was.
Hold on, I gotta set the stage here because this is what drives Brett nuts. Brett, tell us what you suck at.
Wow, among many things, right? At the core of Brett and what I suck at, continually and have is just the pure ADD mind that I have of just not being able to stay on task and struggling with it for the most part. Overcoming it during the day throughout like working and in personal life. I mean, it's just like, I feel like a lot of people have this to some degree, right? But I get plagued with it, especially in like environments where you're, wearing a bunch of hats and a bunch of moving things. There are a bunch of moving parts, a lot of things going on. I get so much stuff going on. Everyone has so much stuff going on, but I get off track super easy.
Well, and I think qualify that a little bit because clinically speaking, not to get too personal,
my DSM-5, it was.
But this is a real thing for you that you've had to overcome, and I've dragged Brett through some hypergrowth situations, so we have had a lot going on.
Yeah. I mean, more specifically, right? Like just an easy example, right? Is just doing a normal task of like writing an email, right? And then starting it, seeing a Slack come through, moving away and going to Slack and starting a new task and leaving that initial email that, whether it's time sensitive or not, right? I just get lost in these things that are incoming. So it happens daily. And it's one of those things that I'm just, I struggle with all the time, and staying on task and completing tasks efficiently and quickly. I mean, personally, man, look at my house. I got so many projects, ongoing projects that I haven't finished. That's just like drives my wife crazy and me crazy. So like constant struggle, but trying
What's
to
the
Set
figure out
up
solution?
your desk though.
Oh.
You have a standing desk set up now. So
Yeah, it took about
got it done.
5.5 months. We got the chair sitting in the
positive
box.
reinforcement, Brett. We got
That's
it.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good job.
Yeah. I mean, for me, I mean, I think although I'm still not good at it by any means, I still struggle with it every day. Like the biggest things that I kind of want to instill on my day to day from a prioritize and execute standpoint is like literally like eliminating my to-do list. Because if I write a to-do list out, I'll see all of them there and I'll get lost in the list itself. So more so like every morning, just tackle one thing at a time, stay on that and go, right? Things pop in, Slack pop in, emails pop in, and I struggle with still staying on task like that. But it's the first step for me was eliminating a to-do list or a written one, because it's just like it plagued me.
Interesting. So that's, I mean, for those of you that know the recruiting world, it's an interrupt driven business. I mean, we are constantly in communication with tons of folks and sort of always scheduling and rescheduling. And so you've eliminated your to-do list. Do you use any kind of tools to track the actual things that you have to get done? Or is this just like all in your head all the time?
Oh, geez, that's a dangerous place to live. No, it's I mean, only thing I'm leaning on right now is Trello, right? That's just it. It's the only sensible organizational tool that I can kind of stay on. We've tried a bunch of ones. I can't do multiple ones, right? Yeah, that seems to be working.
I take no credit for that.
No. And I will say though, on the personal side, I try to follow the 2-minute rule. I don't know if everyone heard this. If a task takes less than 2 minutes, suck it up and just do it and not put it off. So like any minor task, if it takes less than 2 minutes, don't sit there and think about it. Just do it. Like taking the trash out, right? Like breaking down one of like a cardboard box for recycling instead of just leaving it there. It takes 30 seconds, less than 2 minutes. Just do it. It's not going to impact your day.
Wow.
Where did you get that?
Yeah, I don't know, some meme somewhere. I think.
Man, I feel so guilty right now. I'm literally just thinking about the dirty dishes in the sink from last night that it's going in the dishwasher right after this. Yep.
Yeah, 2 minutes. 2-minute rule.
All right.
I got to figure out a rule for that translates over to like the work, but 2-minute rule, personal life seems good. To-do list, get rid of it. As I wrote my to-do list this morning. Constant battle.
Who's next? You got to ask the question now. You got to ask the question.
Enough about me. Oh, Caroline, what do you suck at?
Ooh, good one. Creative.
Good one. As if you were teed up for this.
I don't know. I mean, it was actually really interesting listening to yours because I don't think I would have worded it that way about myself, but actually a lot of that resonates, especially just in terms of tasks, like making the list and then thinking, okay, I'll get to that later, but not doing it. But the main thing I was going to say is going to bed early, which is ironic because I'm not somebody that can't fall asleep. Like any time of the day, give me 30 minutes and I guarantee I could fall asleep. Like it's not because I can't fall asleep. I just get distracted, whether it's working, doing something, whatever it is, and end up going to bed late at night. And I think for a while I thought that was
Can we hold on? Can we qualify late at night? Because it's not really late at night. Usually it's early in the morning is what happens.
Yeah. Like 2 sort of thing.
I just want to emphasize how bad the problem is.
All right. Yeah. That happens sometimes, I will say. Yeah. I mean, where it comes to bite you then is when you're living in a world where most people don't stay up till that time and you've got your first meeting at 9 a.m. And that's where you run into a bit of trouble there. And so I think, honestly, at first I didn't really think much about it because I figured I was getting the stuff done that I needed to get done. And as much as I didn't think I was a night person, that's when my brain seemed to be working the best. But I started to see the impact where the next day you do that a couple of nights in a row and you're really not coming up with anything too smart during the day after that, because your brain's really struggling to catch up without the sleep. So that's that's something I really suck at. Sometimes I get better, but it's work in progress.
Yeah, that's interesting. I mean, it's interesting because I know like there are people who are night owls and there are people who get up early. So I don't know.
Says the one who wakes up at 4 a.m.
That was an accident.
Miss
this
each
morning.
other by an hour.
Right. Ships passing in the night.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
All right.
I was interviewing someone once, and something she said stuck with me, and she was like, I always used to stay up super late to get the thing done for the team. And somebody said to me, like, you're not doing anybody any favors because you show up and like you can't be there for anybody at work the next day or for like people in your life because you're just so fried from not sleeping enough that like you think you're doing the right thing, but you start to do that over time. Yeah, it happens occasionally, but like you need to figure out a right cadence. And I think it all depends on the person. Like, honestly, for me, I do like working at night sometimes because I really appreciate being able to get off and like go exercise or do whatever I'm going to do. But it's like, you got to find the right balance for it.
Yeah. I mean, that's the key that I was just thinking about, right? It's like different things work for different people and different cadences, I like to have thought of myself as a night owl, but now that ended very quickly. And
I think we should
I'm
just
a
keep
puddle
checking.
in the morning.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you forcing function of having a kid too will change things for you without
Fair.
without knowing it's changing. I'd be interested to check in with you, Caroline, and see if you're actually going to change that, how you're changing it.
Right.
And yeah, I think this just has to be
Okay.
a constant,
I think it's
constant
changed
check
a
moving
little
forward.
bit though. I think it has, because you're going to go back to like all these exceptions. But when I start,
I was just going to pull up an example.
No, I think in general though, because when I started doing this like virtual boot camp during the pandemic, that used to start, now it's at 6:30, but it used to start at 5:30 or 6 every single evening. So that literally forced me to stop working. Whereas before I would just kind of work until dinner and eat kind of late. So sometimes I'll get back on afterwards, but like having that break, I think interrupts whatever I'm focused on work-wise enough that, you know what I mean? That like I have the time to intentionally think about it. And so sometimes I might pop in later for a little bit, but like I don't feel like I'm working straight through with the intensity that I was before. Or if there's a time that I do, it's more intentional. Still,
Makes sense.
still got to work on it though.
Continual
see.
growth, Caroline. Continual development.
growth.
Yeah, it's the theme.
You're not perfect.
No,
It's
ask
okay.
me next year. We'll see.
No, we're going to check in month by month here and see how it's going.
Caroline, how's your sleeping going? Yeah.
You know what? When I was studying abroad in college, Linda, shout out to Linda from Denmark, my host mom,
Linda.
greatest lady ever. She always used to tell me, Caroline, you can sleep when you're dead. And so I just like, I don't know, it's haunting me.
Straight following that advice.
Yep. There we go.
All right.
Justin, what do you suck at?
Linda.
Lots of things. I think the thing that I was going to talk about today is I really suck at saying no. And I think you could probably hear a little of that in my voice right now because I'm a little bit like getting over a cold. But I've been, for especially the last couple of jobs that we've had, but even on a Brett's worked with me for a while, I tend to tackle a lot of stuff and just try to say yes to things and figure out what to do after we say yes. I drag people into that. So for both of you, I probably should apologize. But I think that is something that from a business standpoint, it leads to a ridiculous calendar. And probably, from where I sit and what I do from a TA standpoint, recruiting is the customer experience is paramount. So being able to get back to people in a timely fashion and give people the time they deserve in conversations, like I'm constantly sort of rushing through things. And so that it can creep into the business side. I'm fairly, I try to be aware of it. From a personal standpoint, although I do get up early, it does lead to some late nights and lack of sleep, and that plays out in getting sick, I guess. I would also say from the sleep standpoint, one of the things that I've noticed, like I'm not very good at thought work late at night. So when I've got to get stuff done and I've got too much on a to-do list or the Trello board, I really have to pay attention to what I'm actually working on. and sort of stack rank the things that don't take a lot of brain power when I'm staying up late, because my brain just doesn't work that well. And then when you're up at 4:30, 5 o'clock and you haven't slept much, it doesn't work very well either. So it catches up with you. I think I still really suck at this. Been trying to figure out different ways to get over it. I think that surrounding myself with people that can keep me in check from saying yes to too much has been a big win. So thank you to both of you.
Wednesday work block.
Yeah.
Checking on that in a month too.
Yeah. We have work blocks, and I'm prone to blow through all the work blocks. So the team kind of keeps me in check there. But I think being a little more cognizant, especially coming to Perch, I wanted to be able to control my calendar a little more. So putting more work blocks on, and knowing which ones I need to prioritize has been helpful. And I also actually have a little picture, and this is not my idea. I took it from somebody else, but I have a little picture of just the word no up behind my computer screen here. I know, Brett, you find that comical, but I think it does, from time to time when I notice it's there, it is helpful.
Is it blocked most of the time?
I'm thinking like,
can you see it?
It might be too high.
Holiday gift this year, just a flashing neon no sign. You can't ignore it.
I need it to be huge. It is funny though, when you notice it, like when I do notice it, it helps me, I don't just say no to whatever I'm looking at, but it does help me kind of take a step back and prioritize, look at what needs to get done and be able to prioritize like what really is important right now versus things that I can put off or things that just aren't going to be value adds. No matter how much I want to help somebody out. So yeah, so that's what I suck at. I don't really have a magic bullet for that one yet, but it's going to be a continual process.
It's challenging when you also have a mindset of like of wanting to help, of wanting to be a team player. Like there's a balance there of like being a team player and like helping in when like jumping in whenever you can and on anything and like always being that go-to resource. But it's dangerous for you, like for your time, for your calendar, for your life. A ton of people struggle with that, with ADHD and staying on task or even sleeping habits, but like boundaries, balance, boundaries.
I would also say, just because I've managed both of you, I think where I really see that play out and where I have been able to pay a lot better attention, I think, to it is being able to kind of prioritize where you need to put your time as a manager. And also like there's always a point where you sort of see like you get stuck in the mud with something and really need to take a step back and be like, do I want to keep hitting my head against the wall to accomplish this thing? Is it getting us anywhere? Or do we need to kind of reassess? Do I need to reassess how I'm thinking about this and sort of simplify whatever my next actions are? But from a management lens, you get to this place where you're doing so much, especially, in the world of the startups that we work in, you're kind of a very high level, high speed IC while you're a high level manager and managing teams and processes, and to be effective, it's almost impossible to be 100% effective at both of those things. So being able to kind of figure out where you need to spend your time and where you're wasting your time or other people's time in that sense has been helpful. It's been helpful to have people underneath me and really be able to pay attention to like their needs versus just the things that I want to see push through and happen. And otherwise, if you don't pay attention to that, you just get sick, I guess. So enjoy the story. Personal health. Yeah. So that's a flavor of what you're getting, Birds Eye. Hopefully you're not going to be hearing a lot from us. Maybe some questions, but excited to dive into this topic because the idea here was keep it simple, but kind of keep it wide open in the sense that, we may hear from folks who are directly saying they suck at certain things that are specific to roles and functions in the business world and can teach us how to overcome, different things there. And at the same time, I think there'll be a lot of folks who kind of take this in the direction that maybe we just did, which is more, personal growth that affects both business and just life in general. And hopefully be able to take away some lessons.
Yeah. Simple is relatable, right? And all these things are hopefully, transferable to a lot of folks that they feel, as pain points and obstacles in their own personal journeys. God, I can't wait to go to sleep early tonight.
Brett. You know what? I have a goal tonight and I actually wrote it down to get in bed by 10 and just read. It's going to be kind of crazy, but
It will be. Given that the last email I think I saw from you was at like 12:45 a.m. yesterday. It will be a little crazy.
Yeah. Mm.
Might have been a Slack message.
12:35.
I wasn't gonna
I
pull
was
it up.
getting us swag. What can I say?
All right. We're good. That's one down, and we're just gonna launch it.
Yeah.
No edits.
Nah.
All right.
Yes, no. Fuck it. Let it fly.
Let's
All right.
go.
There's the explicit label right there, right at the end.
Figured we'd get that out of the way early. It's okay.
All right.
Okay. Stay tuned.
Yeah. Until next time.
See you soon.